Welcome back to another Medtech Snapshot, where we cover one question and one answer. It's a digest podcast. With me today is Michael O'Connor, and we're going to be going through a variety of discussions hitting on, really business operations, PMO's function within an organization, and another interesting topic covering the aftermath of M&As and how to make that successful. So stay tuned. All right, Michael, I'm looking forward to getting in this discussion today, so thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Travis. Thanks for having me.
So our first topic here, we're really hitting on the PMO side of things. So much of your career has been focused from both a hands-on perspective and a leadership perspective in PMO. So I'm really looking forward to get your perspective on this question, which is, there's a variety of ways organizations will have PMO operate internally. Some do it more as checking the box. Others utilize PMO much more strategically to get product moving through the process, the development cycle on the market to then help patients. Can you share with us, how do we ensure our PMO group operates on the latter of those two? So it's strategic, it's helping actually move things forward and not just checking the box.
Yeah, great question. So PMOs have been a evolving and changing thing. And at my previous company, PMO meant a lot of different things. That was a problem. So the acronym PMO didn't mean the same thing to people in, say, clinical or HR or legal. Most of my work was in R&D. So that right there was an issue. But to get to the next level, it's really, to me, about a level of maturity. So that starts, with the project type of things. What maturity are you at? And you need to do an assessment. And there hasn't been a lot of good tools. The PMO GA, Americo Pinto, they sold off to PMI, so PMI now owns them. They have some good tools. They have some good standards that have come out. But I think in the past, there wasn't a lot of standards. There wasn't a lot of things to gauge. So it really was having knowledgeable people within that PMO to understand how that PMO led up to the strategy. And I seen, my past organization was about 25 businesses. I seen a couple that worked well, but most of them, to your point, were not strategically focused and didn't have the success. So 5, 7, 8, 10 years ago, when they did layoffs, PMOs just got laid off altogether because leadership didn't understand the success that they bring to the company. Now, in the last couple of years, that has changed, and I think they understand the success they can bring. But to your point, a good PMO run correctly can really improve productivity, improve success, but they have to be set up correctly, and they have to have the right culture and the right KPIs and all those kind of things in there. So it's a mixed bag, right? I mean, there's a lot of things you need to do, but really need to set the tone with the culture that comes from top. You need to set the KPIs and other things with the strategy. And then you need to have people that are running it that really understand how it works and what it brings to the company and make sure that this is an important area for that organization. So that's a kind of a high level, but there's a lot of things we could dive into and talk further.
So, one of the things I've seen with PMO is that sometimes organizations treat that function within a business, for lack of a better phrase, as kind of the folks who herd the cats, right?
Yeah.
And I really look at PMO as a much more strategic arm of the business, making sure cross-functionally everybody's in alignment, right? Especially with larger enterprise-wide initiatives. So can you maybe share with us some things that you've done in your own career that have really helped kind of coalesce those cross-functional units to make sure that PMO is successful?
Well, yeah, I mean, in my career at my last organization, what I did is I took the initiative to create a grassroots effort called Project Program Portfolio PMO Management, or 4PM. And we did this as a volunteer effort to get people better educated, better trained. And actually, we started something called PLS, Program Leadership Series, for core team leaders and program leaders to get the training that they needed. That was a nomination-based kind of program. So I think it starts with that education and training, but it also starts with leadership. Leadership needs to understand what a PMO is and what it can do for them. And at my last organization, it took a while to get leadership on board with that. So don't underplay that. It's not important for leadership to understand what it's about and how it works. But again, like I already said, you need people in that PMO that are knowledgeable and that know how to put strategy and projects together. If you don't have that linkage, you don't have a really good PMO. And the other thing is you have to be able to stop things when they need to be stopped, right? And no company does a really good job of that. I mean, we could go in a lot of stories of those things, but a good PMO really is around the culture, and the culture and that tone is set. That PMO is going to thrive. So I've seen the PMOs that have been successful in organizations have had really good culture. The other thing that I've seen is that they don't just have managers and directors, they have VPs in the PMO. And that's something that was newer in my last organization. They started getting people at the VP level that could make decisions and have a seat at the table with leadership to make sure that PMO was doing the things they needed to do and it was aligned with the strategy. So those are some of the things I think that need to happen and are important to create a good PMO.